from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. Only got 3 hours of sleep. Woke up at 12 because they rudely woke me up. And if y'all know me, I hate being rudely woken up. You can ask Emily that. Trust me, I used to throw elbows. It wasn't pretty. But anyways, so they rudely woke me up, told me that, hey, systems are down. We need you to fix this now because we have a convoy coming in the morning. I said, okay, all right. I get ready, put my boots on, get my weapon, get everything, and I go. I go there. I look at my system. I'm like, oh, snap. It's really down. I thought y'all were just making this up. So I had to go to brigade area. I had to make a phone call, and I got told a false information saying that, oh, the system's going to be down for an hour for upgrades. It's like, okay. So I go back to where my battalion was, and we were talking. I was like, hey, give it an hour. Let me sleep for a little bit. Once it's good, I'll get it up. So I go to sleep. Only 45 minutes to realize later that it would not come on. And me being my cocky self, I was like, okay, y'all probably doing something wrong. Let me look at it. And lo and behold, I was the one that was in the wrong. And I had worked from that time to 9 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out what is going on with this network. Like, why isn't it working? Like, I know this network. I built this network. I know this. Like, I was taught this. I know how to fix it. Lo and behold, I found out that I didn't know it. Apparently, it needed it's what we call an encrypting key to make sure it's classified stuff. And I didn't have that. So I was freaking out. My sergeant was telling me to chill, and I could not, for me, listen to her. And nowadays, I wish I would have listened, but I was freaking out, trying everything to get this thing working. And lo and behold, the convoy was going, and they said, hey, we have the stuff to make it work. Give us 4 hours, because obviously the trip to where we're at Kirkuk to the location we were at, which was, obviously I can't really talk about it, but there was a 4-hour trip. In that 4 hours, the worst that we could ever imagine happened. One of the vehicles that was in the head got hit with an IED. If y'all don't know, an IED is a bomb that's planted under the ground. And y'all hear stories about military-grade equipment, right? It's not true. They break. So our vehicle got hit, or they got hit. There was 2 people in it. Sergeant first class, he lost both his legs. He's still alive to this day. He's still running marathons with the fake legs, which is inspiring. But the driver sadly passed away, and I took it to a grain of salt. I put that all on me. Like, my battalion didn't know, my NCOs didn't know. I didn't talk to anybody about it, so I was already hitting my low point. I started throwing computers. I said, give me a new computer. I was in a rage trying to figure out this stuff because I feel like I caused this to happen. And lo and behold, it's about to be midnight the next day. My NCO tells me, hey, go to bed now. Like, it's not a direct order. You will get kicked out of your army if you do not go to bed right now. So I do that. I go to bed. I wake up like 5 hours later because I could not sleep. And it hit me, like, hey, I know how to fix this. So I go to my captain who was on that convoy. Luckily, he didn't get hit. And I told him my plan. We told our battalion commander, like, the plan. And then in 1 minute after I said that, after I got everything working, in 1 minute, it worked. It worked like that. I was so stressed out. I got it working. I told them, hey, let me make sure everything's working before y'all start plugging stuff in. Lo and behold, it worked. My NCOs were glad I got it working. My command team was glad because that way they can talk to the other battalions and let them know what happened. And the soldiers who knew that fallen soldier can get a call from their first sergeant to say, like, hey, this is what happened and all that stuff. And that's probably the worst thing we all wanted during deployments, is to lose a fallen soldier. And then throughout the whole days of deployments, I was there for a year, or 9 to 10 months, like, time frame. During the days, I was still hitting myself. Like, I was so close, like, to my lowest point that I've never been in my life. To where at one point, sadly, when I got switched over to Kuwait, to help out the supporting battalions. I had to support 4 different battalions, a whole brigade element that was there too. I was pretty much their IT guy to fix thousands of computers because they couldn't find anybody to fix them. So I did that. I had to help my NCO and had to help with another soldier, but it's just, I couldn't deal with it. But the good thing about Kuwait was it had a basketball court. And if y'all know me, I love playing basketball. Back then, basketball used to help me relax, calm down, and, just shoot around. You pretty much just lose focus on what's going on. And that's why I think basketball for. But one of the days, I was in my room eating some Flamin' Hot Cheetos, because I love Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Can't go wrong with those. Wifey, buy me some, please. Anyways, eating some Flamin' Hot Cheetos in my room, and then I get a message from one of my buddies who went to basic to me, who pretty much we were battle buddies. So he slept on top bunk, I slept on a below bunk, and we did everything together, like we were close. And I get a message from his NCO or his mom that he committed suicide when he was in Afghanistan. And at that point, I was at my lowest. Like, that hit me. I had to go play basketball. Like, I had to. Like, I dropped everything. I had Cheetos all over my bed, everything. So I had to go. And while I went, apparently some NCO did checks on the rooms, and he saw my room being a mess. Told my NCO. My NCO harped on me, saying that, hey, because of this, you're going to be micromanaged now to where you're going to bathe where I sleep at, so that way I know when you get out the shower that you're bathed and you're clean. You're going to do laundry every Wednesday and all that stuff, which I do anyways because I'm not that gross. But what was happening was in Kuwait, I was supposed to go to a class to get my certification, which in IT world, this certification leads to bigger jobs and bigger pictures for my life, which I have now, which I'm grateful for. But then she told me I couldn't go to it. And I punched the table, signed the counseling. I said, whatever. Went to my room, cleaned up my room, and I texted my buddy who was still in Iraq that, dude, I'm done. I'm going to walk out on this road where there's Humvees at. I don't care right now. I'm done. And he was trying to calm me down, but I threw my phone down, got my music, and started walking. And lo and behold, this is where God tried to speak to me first. So I didn't know at that time that Skillet was a Christian band or all the other bands I was listening to were Christian. I didn't know, even though. So let me finish. So I was walking down the road, waiting for someone to come because I was done. I was tired. And something grabbed my shoulder and threw me onto the grass and stuff. And it's like, who was that? Like, ain't nobody near me. And then I started listening to my song. I was listening to Skillet, Brave. If you know Brave, the lyrics of the song goes, stand up, rise in faith. I will not be afraid. Your spirit is alive. And that hit me. It was like, is that God talking to me? Like, no, that can't be. And so during the time, it woke me up to where I didn't think about my family. I didn't think about my future family, about what would happen if I would have went. Y'all probably would never have met me. I probably would never met Emily. And that saved me from doing the worst thing that I could have done for myself and my family and my friends who really took care of me. So after deployment, we get back to the States. And while I'm in the States, like I'm a gamer, okay? I play video games for a living. That's a fact. And when I was in the barracks, when I did not want to hang out with anybody, I was playing tournaments for charity, obviously, because I didn't really want the money. I just wanted to play the games. So we were playing for charity and all that stuff. And I started getting myself back to my, normal self. Like, I wasn't faking being happy. I wasn't faking, anything. I was just myself, and I was glad about it. So that's when I got saved my first time. The second time, y'all were here for that. Y'all were at the Golden City buffet for it. And that's when I remember somebody told me that, or told Emily that that was probably the happiest they've ever seen me. You're not wrong. When Emily told me that I was gonna be a dad, I nearly tackled her. Y'all saw that. I almost tackled the person about to have the baby. And I was happy about it. I was happy. Like, there was no point in me to stress out about anything. To stress out about anything, because I was going to be a father. I was going to do whatever I can do for my kid, because my dad, when I was young, when I was 5 or 10, he left me and my mom. So it was my mom and my grandparents. And my grandparents, I treat like a mother and father, because they were around me while my mom was working 12 hours a day to support me. And my mom, I can still hear her voice now. After I graduated high school, she's like, military, go to military. Hey, military. Going once, going twice. It's like, Mom, okay, you know what? Fine, I'll go. The biggest reason I wanted to go was because my granddad. He was in the Air Force for 20 years. He pretty much, did everything that I wanted to do in the military. And I wanted to, make him proud of me. And that's what I love about, every time I call him, he always tells me, like, he's proud of me of what I've done in my life. And then it hit me again. It's like, man, if I would have really done it, I probably would never have heard those words. That would have, kept me being bigger and bigger on myself. So while I was reading Romans, and I'm in Romans 5, 3 through 5. And it says, and not only that, but we also glory in tribulations, knowing that tribulations produce perseverance, perseverance into character, and character into hope. Pause, because I want to stop. Because I actually, today, while reading this, it hit me. Do y'all know what those words mean? Y'all probably do. I didn't know. I had to see in English, okay? So, tribulation, the definition of it is a state of great trouble or suffering. Perseverance is doing something despite difficult or delay in achieving success. Character, the mental and moral qualities to an individual. And now hope. Hope, I had 2 definitions for, because while during the day, Emily had a class, and she told me a good definition for hope. And I thought, I have to add this. I have to. So hope is a feeling of expectations and desires for certain things to happen. Emily's version is the confident, positive expectation of the goodness of God. And it hit me like, if I were to say this verse backwards, but we also have glory in hope, knowing that hope produces character, character produces perseverance, and perseverance produces tribulations. Like, I can flip that around and get it. Because if you have hope, that determines your character. That character determines your perseverance of how to get through stuff. And obviously, if you have the perseverance, you can go through any tribulations that hit you. And then continuing on to the verse, it also says, now hope does not disappoint, because the love of God has been poured out in our hearts by the Holy Spirit who was given to us. And it hit me. It's like, man, going back now, I'm kind of laughing about what I've been through the deployment to make me who I am today. If I didn't, then I want to have a story to tell. I want to be the person that can relate to soldiers about, like, hey, I know deployment's hard, but you got this type thing. And I'm glad I still do to this day, where I work with soldiers 24/7, except for obviously these 2 weeks as a recovery, until we got the Navy SEALs coming in April, so that's going to be fun. So, but also in Deuteronomy 6:12, lest you forget the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. The reason I put that is because I don't need to forget that the Lord got me out of a tricky situation. That situation brought me here today, to where I met all of y'all. And when we came to this church, y'all were all welcoming. Like, this is the first time that I felt welcome somewhere. In military, you feel like just a number because that's the way they treat you, but obviously I had a job to do. But here, y'all didn't care. Y'all don't care. Like, churches don't, like, they should do this where they don't care about where you came from. They don't care about what you do. As long as you serve God and love God, church is going to welcome you. And that's what happened with Pastor Billy and Jason. They came up to me, shook my hand, and we had a talk about some stuff. Emily was talking to Melissa and Ramona, I think, too. I could be wrong. But it's just, it hit me like, this is the place where we needed to be for our family. And it was the right call to make. And that call started with me getting pushed out the way. And the title of my teaching is called, I Got Your Six. In the military, when we say we got your six, that means we got your back. Obviously, you think about the clock, the six is obviously right here. So God has your back. He knows what your life is going to be like. So he didn't want me to go out like that. He wanted me to where I could meet Emily. Well, I already met Emily in AIT, but like go hang out with her, marry her, do all the stuff I can, and then come to North Carolina, like out of all places, North Carolina. And then guess what? We got a house in Clinton. Who was living in Clinton? Y'all been to our house, like ain't nobody there. But it's a great place. Like I'm at a great state of my life where I can provide for my family by bringing in 2 paychecks and not having her work. And that was my goal when I wanted to get married. Like I wanted to provide to where she doesn't have to where she can do what she wants to do in her life. And I'm glad for it. I really am. So also today, I got a quote from somebody that you probably would never think of that I got a quote from. Do y'all know who played the Grinch in the live action version? Jim Carrey. I was kind of like all faces. I was like, what? Jim Carrey? The Grinch? The guy who wanted to steal Christmas but couldn't? So in his quote, he says, I believe that suffering leads to salvation. In fact, it's the only way. That we have to somehow accept or deny our suffering, but feel our suffering and feel our losses. And when we make one of 2 decisions, we either decide to go through the gate of resentment, which leads to violence or vengeance, as he said, which also leads to self-harm, which also leads to harming others. Or we can go through the gate of forgiveness. And in the gate of forgiveness, which leads to grace, just as Christ did on the cross. You would think Jim Carrey? Yeah. Hollywood? But it's crazy that came up today. And it was like, out of everything, that kind of goes with my teaching. Like, hey, you either forgive your suffering, or you let it harm yourself or harm others. And that's what happened to me at that day during deployment. I got pushed out the way to where I was going to forgive myself. I was going to forgive all those, and it led to grace. Now, I noticed it did take awfully a long time for me to start going to church. But if it wasn't for Emily, we probably wouldn't have been here, because she was the first one that said, hey, I want to go through this journey. And knowing her, if y'all met my wife, I'm pretty sure y'all have, she is gun blazing when she says she wants to do something. The only thing I can do is probably grab popcorn and watch. And she'll probably throw the popcorn at me too. But you know what? I'm glad I let her drive, because she led us to a great place around great friends and family who are willing to help us out with stuff. And I'm grateful for it. And it got me introduced to the Bible, obviously, because I didn't read the Bible during that time. But while reading the Bible, I got 2 of my favorite verses that I do want to share. In Galatians 2:20, I have been crucified with Christ, and it is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself up for me. And then also Joshua, not you, Joshua 1:5. No one will be able to stand against you for all days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. And it's just, wow. I never thought that I would get this forgiveness. I would get this life that I live right now, because I almost ended it. And I'm grateful I'm still around to where I can do what I do for my family, and I can meet great friends and get along with other people. At this point, I'm happy. I'm for real happy about it. I don't need to fake it anymore. I don't need to cry myself to sleep. I don't need to cry in my sleep, because I used to do that because PTSD. It's weird with other people, I guess. That's what the therapist said to me. But I am grateful for it, and I thank God for taking me this way, and I can't wait to see what He has for me. So, now that all that stuff is done, who's ready for some jokes? All right, I got some Christian ones in here too. But also, hey, remember the long story I told y'all? I finally got it. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Y'all can get some kids, because they do. But I'm really grateful for this, because I love what I do with computers. I love helping out the military, and I just love making people laugh. Now, granted, I wanted to be a comedian when I was in high school, but it just, I don't know, talking in front of people, it's easy if you don't look at people, but then they start telling you to picture them in your underwear, and it's like, I don't want to see that. And it's just bro, look, I'm not going to lie here. When I was in high school too, I'm telling this story while I'm waiting. I had to give a speech on paper. Yeah, on paper. Bro, why do I need this speech on paper? I literally told a speech, I ripped up the paper, I was like, there's my speech on paper. Alrighty, now that the kids are here, who's ready for some jokes? I'm waiting for them. Alrighty. Levi, Josh, do not answer this. Claire, I think I told you to. Don't answer this. Eva, don't answer this either. All right. So there's 503 bricks on a plane. One falls out. How much is left? 502. Come on now. It's math. Anyways, how do you put an elephant in the fridge? Really? Y'all don't know how to put an elephant in the fridge? So what you do is you open the fridge and you put an elephant in, and then you close it. Come on now. Now, how do you put a giraffe in the fridge? Anybody? Same way. No. You open the fridge, you take the elephant out, and you put the giraffe in. Now, the Lion King is having a party. All the animals are there except for one. Which one's not there? Huh? No, the giraffe, because you put it in the fridge. Now, Sally needs to cross a lake, but there's a ton of alligators. But she crosses. How does she cross? Man, y'all are dead on here. She was fine. She crossed the lake because all the alligators were at the Lion King party. Come on now. But Sally crossed the lake and she got struck by something. What hit her? No, the brick that fell out the plane. Now, here's some Christian jokes too. I actually found these and I thought they were hilarious. What kind of tiles did Jesus want in his house? He wanted Gentiles. What do you give a Christian with bad breath? A testament. Now, who do mouse worship? Yeah, mice. Who do they worship? They worship Jesus. Exactly. Now, if the Last Supper was on Sunday, what do you think they would have ate? Obviously, it wouldn't be Chick-fil-A. All right, now that now that I got y'all back up, but yeah, so I mean, hey, if y'all want me to do stand up, let me know. I got y'all. Because I got some funny stories in my life. Like the time my mom caught a fish head that was still alive while I caught a shark. And then she was struggling. I mean, she was like, it's like, reel it in. She's like, I got it. It's a fish head. It's like, man. Anyways, that was my teaching, so glad. I hope y'all liked it.